Okay, it's recording and we're here and I'm so happy to see you. It's been so long, Betsy.
No, it has. Hi, Julie.
It's been a long couple of years, huh? I can't believe that this thing has lasted so long.
I know. I was thinking about that actually this morning. Good grief. Like, it has been a long couple of years.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because, when it first came out, it was, what did they say, 6 weeks to 2 months, then 3 months. And my son said it's going to be 2 years. And I was like, don't say that. Jeez. But he was correct.
All right. Well, what's his prediction now?
I will ask him. It's funny because he wants to go into aerospace engineering. And I asked him, like, why do you, I know ever since he was a little kid, he loved engineering, but I don't think he even knew what it was. And so I said, what made you narrow it to this? And he said, well, I figure that the earth is going to be inhabitable one day. So we might as well work on creating ways to travel other places.
Wow.
Wow. Interesting.
Wow. Okay.
So that's the new generation.
Yeah.
That's how they're thinking. At least he hasn't given up hope.
Yes, for sure.
So many people. God, we did a body process trade yesterday. And part of it was, oh gosh, I can't even remember the words, but like being immune to all the points of view in humanity right now.
Yes.
And
sounds like an excellent body process to run.
Yeah, there's just so much heaviness out there in the world.
There is. So what do you do to not buy into that heaviness?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Well, sometimes I do, like, oh, and then it's okay. If I was the space of me, what would I be choosing here? And that helps to bring me back to me and remind me of how freaking aware we are. Because Lord have mercy, so many people have chosen to leave their bodies this year, including 2 family members of mine, as well as friends, and then friends of friends and cousins. And like, it's wow. And so with all of that energy, it can be easy to get sucked into that. And it's like, okay, so am I choosing to leave my body? No. Okay, so then what is required for me to be happy and joyful? And yes, I'm aware of what's going on around me. And then, like, what is required for me to
it's
be
so
me?
Important to remain in the space and the lightness that we are, because everybody else around us, like, they need a beacon of hope. My dad just left his body as well. And there were times when I felt like the weight of all of that, but it's like, I know something greater is possible. And I don't believe in this is it.
Yeah.
So I can't stay there too long because it feels too contractive.
It does, and it's, travel well is, for the people who have left their bodies, and, like, asking for everything to be ease for them as well. And, whatever they choose as their next adventure. And it really is so important, I think, like you said, to be that beacon for yourself, first and foremost, that what would I like to choose for my day today? What kind of energy would I like to be in? Do I want to be sad? And it's okay if I'm sad. Okay. And then, what can I choose either later that same day or the next day? And so whatever's coming up, reminding myself not to make myself wrong for any of that as well.
Yeah. Sad and sitting by the fireplace, watching Hallmark movies, getting your bars run.
Yeah.
Is a great way to go.
It is, and it was funny. Like, I don't know about you, but you can tell me, like, lately there's been so many weird body sensations. Sometimes I feel like I'm melting and I'm going sideways, and it's just like, whoa, what am I aware of here? Are you finding that too? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's what they're talking about, in some of the advanced classes is the dissolution of the reference points. Mm-hmm. And, that's all the things that make everything solid and real. And
right.
when we start to step into this space that actually is, and we're not in the delusion of this false reality, it feels freaking weird and like, whoa.
Right. It's like you're on this ship and, you're out to the high seas with a big storm, and you're like, whoo, and it's equilibrium this off and
enjoy it. Like, right. What if it wasn't bad and wrong?
Right.
Like, enjoy the sensation of, the flow.
Yeah. And then I also asked, like, what body processes could contribute here, and one of them that's just been such a gift for me has been restoration of communion with earth and, connecting with the earth again. And even just talking about it, I can feel my body going, yes, relax. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Absolutely. I got one of those grounding sheets to put on the foot of my bed. Have you heard of those? The grounding?
No.
Well, there's this documentary, I think it's called Earthing, or Grounding, Earthing, Grounding, I don't know. And there was an electrician guy who figured out that if you have a grounding mechanism that you can put your feet on or your body on, it helps clear all of the electrical charge that our bodies pick up, which is kind of what restoration of communion with earth does. And if you can't stand outside barefoot on the ground, like, at least you could sleep with your feet touching this thing that grounds you.
Wow.
And because I have it in my bed at home, and then I travel, and then I come back, I notice the difference. There really is something to it. And they said in the documentary that over time, it helps restore all kinds of energy to your body, just like the body process. And yeah, because there's a buildup of this electrical charge of probably judgment, right, wrong, good, bad, should, shouldn't, that's locked into your body. And when you ground it and you clear the positive and negative charge, you become vibrationally acoustic like the earth.
Wow. I'll have to get the information on what that is. That sounds really neat.
Yeah, it was a cool documentary. And then, of course, they have all these things, shoes, grounding shoes. Actually, I want to try those, because when you go and walk in the woods, but you're wearing rubber-soled shoes, you're disconnected from the earth. So what I do is I put my hands on the trees, or I lean up against a tree, and I definitely do that. But, imagine the 2 hours of walking or whatever, that you could actually be connecting with the earth. So,
wow.
Yeah, I'll put that on my Christmas wish list for myself.
There you go. Dear Santa. That's really fascinating, and the fact that more and more people are open to exploring these things and creating items that can contribute to that is wow.
But what I would definitely say is that an access bars session, even if it's 15 minutes, is 100 1,000 times more powerful than a silly little grounding thing.
I tell you,
It also clears, your
clears
head.
all this crap out of your head. Yes. Yeah, I'm so grateful for Access bars. It's been about 10 years since I first found Access, and my life is completely different. And bars is such a huge contribution. And I shudder really, like I don't know that I would still be in this body on this earth if I had not found the tools of Access consciousness. So I'm so grateful for them. And, I always know when it's been too long since I've had my bars run. I'm cranky and, just emotional, which I'm pretty even keel most of the time. So when I start getting emotional, I'm like, oh, it's time to get my bars run. And then I'm back, like that's another thing we were talking about earlier, the space of me. And that's definitely, one of the things that really contributes. It's that space of,
Yes. And everybody knows when they have the space of themselves and when they don't.
Yes.
When you feel,
yeah,
you don't have it.
Well, I joke sometimes with my husband, I'm like, okay, your breathing is annoying me. So for the sake of our marriage, would you please run my bars? And he just laughs. And he's like, he knows it's nothing personal. I'm just like, ah. Yes, but when you get to the point where somebody's breathing is pissing you off, okay, thank God, that there is something I can do to change that. And I don't have to walk around mad at him that he's on this planet, because it has nothing to do with him. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Hi, Joanna. Somebody just wrote a comment. That's fun. Yeah. So there is Global Access Bars Day coming up next month.
Yeah.
That's in like 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, January 15th.
So all over the planet, you have no excuse not to try it.
Yes.
Because there'll be lots of people doing it for free. We in the Bay Area are renting a conference room, so we're charging a minimal amount so that we can cover the cost of that, and we'll be streaming the live content.
Yeah, nice, very nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to do something here at my house, and it's interesting because I've done different things, and no matter what, whether I'm by myself just watching the stream and have my hands on my bars, or 1 year we rented a space and had a lot of people come, and that was really fun. And then I've done different events at my home, so no matter if it's myself or 50 other people, it's such a contribution. And there's such a peace that day when you tap into the energy of like thousands, not tens of thousands of people around the world are all getting their bars run. It's just like, so much peace and space.
It is it's like exponentializing every session. If you've ever done a small class with a few people and then do a class with a large amount of people and you're running the processes, it exponentializes the number of bodies that are doing it. And then you multiply that times the entire world. And it's in 178 countries.
Amazing.
I mean, when I started, they were in 2.
Yeah. And how long has that been for you that you've been playing with that stuff? 18 years. Wow. Wowie. 2 countries. What were the countries? US and Australia? Wow.
Yeah. And some people are like, why Australia? I don't know. I showed up and it was like, oh my gosh. And what's funny? I was thinking about how it showed up for me. And I had gone to my chiropractor because I had neck pain and I thought it was from making jewelry. And he just asked me, what's a pain in the neck? The husband, the kids. And he said the clearing statement and all the neck pain went away and he hadn't even adjusted me.
Wow.
And I realized how many clients have come to me with a pain in the neck and I asked them the same question And they're like, oh my God, my husband, it's always the husband. It's not their fault. It's just your point of view about them creates it.
Right.
Like, oh my God,
Right.
this is such a pain in the neck. You're creating it. And I was thinking this morning, what would it take for people to know that they are creating the aches and pains in their bodies by those silly little throwaway thoughts?
Yes.
Oh, this person's a pain in the neck. This person's a pain in the ass. You're going to get a hemorrhoid if you keep holding on to that point of view.
Well, my old business partner used to say all the time, so and so is a pain in the ass, such and such is a pain in the ass, blah blah. And so for years that was kind of her mantra. Well, she developed sciatica and all this stuff, and then had to go to doctors. And I, by then knew about what you say, like what you just talked about. And I'm like, can she, I totally knew that she had created this pain in her ass by constantly repeating it. So I really try to be very careful with the words and the thoughts now that come out of my mouth, or, like, no, that's not my reality. So I love that you brought that up. And gosh, before that you even had an adjustment, just saying the clearing statement, the pain was gone. That's freaking magic. Wow.
Yep. And I was like, what's that?
I want to know more about that.
Because he did all kinds of California New Age things. And I tried a few of them. But they were all long, drawn out, emotional, getting into it, crying, releasing, like basically going back out through the thing, but having to struggle through it instead of let it go, change it. And I was like, wow, you can do that. I'm in.
Right. I know. Sign me up. Because I was, I was at the point where I was going to therapy, and I was definitely better than the space I was before I even walked in. But I was tired of hearing myself say the same things. I'm like, God, how can you stand this? And I'm just like, okay, something has to change here, because I don't want to keep reliving this same thing over and over and over again. And so when I found bars, it was the same thing in the clearing statement. It's like, whoa, I don't even know what just happened, and I don't really need to know. I just know that I don't have this constant chatter in my head that I didn't even realize I had until it was gone. Like, what was that? Same thing. I got to find out more. I got to find what this is. So, that's really cool. So you found it that way, and then you went and took some bars classes, and
there was no bars
started
class.
So what did you do?
I went to, he had clearing nights. So I went to the clearing nights, and he would introduce different tools. And then I went to foundation. And in foundation in the afternoon, we learned bars.
Okay, that's right.
But
it used to
there
be
was nothing.
together.
There was the one page head chart with all the points. And he said, just touch all the points. And we're like, what the hell? So maybe a year or so after that, after I brought all my friends, and they're like, I don't understand the bars. I asked Gary, can I teach a bars class? Because nobody's getting it. And so I taught a bars class with 4 of my friends. And soon after that, he made it a separate class and a prerequisite.
You trailblazer, you. I did not know that piece of the story. That is so amazing. Because I do remember that it used to be like together, and then they separated it out. So
yeah, and when they did that, somebody created a diagram to show people how to do it, because it was sort of a free-for-all.
And that's how it starts, right? You don't have it wasn't like when it first started.
Yeah,
everything was diagrams and manuals, right?
And I remember that like before it was a manual with all the points, you had to pay attention to the head of the person that you're working on. And once it went to this diagram sheet, everybody was like paying attention to the sheet and trying to get the order proper and correct. And it's like, no, pay attention to the person. Because if these points are screaming or these,
Right.
like, do those first.
Right.
um,
Yeah.
so when I teach the class, I do it the first session as according to the sheet, and then the next session it's like, well, what do you sense in that person? Which bars? Because
Great.
sometimes you only have 10 minutes and it's like you can't get to them all. Which ones are you going to do?
I like that a lot. And it really does remind people that we know so much more about the bodies than we realize we do. And, you know, so many times people are like, well, I don't know why, but somehow I'm drawn to, you know, over here. And it's like, well, that's your, you know, that is your awareness of that person's body and what that person's body requires. And even if it makes no sense, like, go with what you know.
And a lot of the body processes have no explanation. So you have to trust your awareness. So,
well, I want to say thank you for everything you've contributed to Access Consciousness and the bars and foundation and all the other things. And, you know, that's an amazing story to hear. I did not know that. So thank you for sharing that with us. Hey, Gary, I want to make this a class.
I know, it's so funny because some people say, you know, the first time I had my bars run, it changed my life. And I was like, the first time I had my bars run, I was like, what? You know, it was weird in the afternoon of that class. And somebody in the class had done it before, and they said they got their bars run 3 times a week. And I'm like, why would you spend all this time doing that? And I thought, I'm going to find out. And so I got my husband to take the class too. And so we traded 3 times a week. And then I started to get it, like, oh, there's all this space, and oh, we don't have to be upset about anything. And,
right.
And like, oh, then you can feel alive and peaceful and happy.
Oh, I do remember after there was no class when I first found out about bars. So I went and had a session. And in the parking lot, I was thinking, oh my God, if everybody got their bars run in this world, how different our planet would be. The same thing. And so that's where I got to find out. I got to learn this. And then it was, oh my God, I really would like to teach other people, you know, who might be interested. And that was how I launched my path to more. I got to find out, what is this? Oh my God, I got to get more.
It's like every transition could be so much easier when you're moving and you're stressed, or you know, you're evicted and you're stressed, or you're getting divorced, or you're getting married, like, or somebody died. Get your bars run.
Yes.
It just clears all the anxiety, all of the fear, all of the upset. And it doesn't mean that you don't feel or care, but you get to be more present and deal with things.
You do. And that's been such a gift for me, as I lost my mother this summer, and we just lost my father-in-law a couple of days ago. And to see the people, you know, most of the people in the family do not have these tools and these gifts. And then there's a few of us, I think there's 4 of us that do. And the difference is, oh my gosh, you know, it's just, wow. So again, super, super grateful for, you know, finding it, asking for something different, and then being willing to explore and play, and then just keep going. And there's no limit. There's no end, you know. And for you, Julie, 18 years, it's wow.
Yeah. I found Access when I was 39, and I figure I just kind of stay 39 forever.
There you go. Oh, goodness. Well, I really thank you so much for inviting me on the coffee chat. This was fun.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you. Yeah. And I will share this on YouTube and stuff as well.
Awesome.
And, you know, let's just invite more people into the coffee talk group and see if there's any questions, and, you know, we can address that in future coffee talk chats.
Awesome.
And I want to talk to you afterwards. So,
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
bye.